We are back. We are talking about players in the 55 to 60 draft range. Welcome to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast. We're actually not talking about draft range. We're talking about where they finished. Eight cat rankings. We're doing the top 120 for quite a bit here. And we're going to go through 55 to 60 here with some pretty big names that should be pretty intriguing in next year's fantasy draft. So I'm pretty stoked about all that. But before we do that, let's say hello to Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season's in full swing. We're into the NBA and NHL playoffs, and Bet Online has more ways to stay in the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played, with the largest selection of odds on everything from MLB, NBA, NHL, UFC. Bet Online remains the best online source for all your sports wagering info. Bet Online, the game starts here. Doc, how are you, sir?
I would just like to say hello, Bet Online. How are you?
Hello, the entity of itself.
It's good to see you, Bet Online. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm ready for these playoffs to start. I hate the fact that we had no games last night.
Do we have a game tonight? We do. Yes, thank God. The Wolves and the Thunder. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the episode. Great playoffs so far. A little disappointing that game 7, but I guess if you're down in Aaron,
was it disappointing?
For you, it was not, because you're a Thunder guy.
I was loving it. I didn't have to sweat. I didn't have to worry about anything. I just played gold. I even turned it off early. Said put the PGA back on.
That part was great. This last weekend was like kiddo central, all these things ending and parties to go to. And there was no game on Saturday. So all that stuff happened Saturday and then more stuff on Sunday. But like turning the game on and seeing it was like 500 to 100 or whatever the score was, I was like, click, I will not be watching that. And I watched it a little bit later, but it was a nice reprieve from some of the intensity of the playoffs. It's just been an intense playoffs. It's been great. I would have probably liked to seen the Denver Nuggets advance, just because I like Nikola Jokic. I like a little bit of an underdog factor. The Thunder squad, I don't have anything against them, but I don't know, it almost feels a little unfair to have their bench the way that they've got their bench. So it'll be interesting as we get going here in the NBA season. If you have something to say, Doc, feel free to say it before.
Dude, they've been building. Your OKC hate is starting to wear on me, bro. Like they've been building this thing for 10 years and we're finally to the point where they're going to get the payoff. Maybe if they can beat these two teams, whoever the second one's going to be, and get the payoff that they've been building toward this whole time. So to me,
my hate is calling them an historic basketball team. That's my hate, everybody. They're historic, but maybe beatable. Do you think they're beatable, Doc?
I mean, Denver could have beaten them. It took them to 7. They haven't really just come in and dominated everybody to this point. I would not be surprised if they dominate Minnesota and then whoever gets through from the East, though. I would not be surprised. I mean, the bench is unfair. The starting lineup is unfair. The defense is unfair. They're good.
They're just unfair. Yeah, no, I think it's 8 for me. I think Cason Wallace is a star. Like he's a star in the making. He's just running around, just doing so much good stuff for the Thunder. And then you get Caruso and Dort, and it's just like, when does it ever end? Aaron Wiggins can get hot. Isaiah Joe can get hot. It's going to be a handful for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but we'll get into that here in a quick second. Let me get my rundown up here. These names that we're going to cover are some fairly big names. Let's start off with number 55, 8-cat finisher. We're going by totals here. He finished at number 55. His name is Michael Porter Jr. He just got eliminated with the Denver Nuggets. He had a per game rank in 8-cat leagues of 87 games, played 77, therefore had a nice and high rank in totals, and a 9-cat totals rank of 43. Naturally, he doesn't turn the ball over that much. So we're going to look at all these players and does this rank represent this player? What are we looking at this upcoming season? Where would you draft him? And how do you feel about Michael Porter Jr.? Now he has this injury. He's been playing through a little bit quiet in the playoffs, but where are you at with him heading into next season?
He makes the same amount of money as Jalen Williams. I think I'd rather have Jalen Williams, but I thought Porter was going to be more of a blocks and steals guy, and he's just not. 0.6 steals, 0.5 blocks. The scoring was great, 18.2. Not quite a career high, but close. The three-pointers, great. 2.5 threes a game from MPJ. I love that. The rebounds, 7 is fine. 2 assists, I guess that's fine, but it's the lack of steals and blocks. And then he also does not turn the ball over because it really doesn't handle the ball very much. So his ranking always gets a boost based on his low turnovers. But, where we've got him, he was 87 in 9-cat total, 55 in 8-cat per game. I'm getting this all screwed up. Never mind. He's a guy that I want. I'm no longer targeting him in around 3, 4, or 5. I'm targeting him in around 8, 9, or 10.
What I think is interesting about Michael Porter Jr. is he seems to have a genuine connection with ownership there in Denver, and they were not able to, or maybe unwilling to, trade him at this last trade deadline. And if he's going to stay in Denver, he's going to play with Nikola Jokic, and by virtue of that, he's going to get a lot of great passes, and he's probably going to have a pretty similar season to the one that he just had. And there's probably some lingering injury risk out there that might never go away. He's been good in that area lately. So I think folks are going to forget about that and kind of just draft him at value. I think Michael Porter Jr. probably goes off the board in the 5th round, ? If he was available in the 5th round, that sounds like a no for you. Is that right?
His per game rank was 87. I'm not drafting that guy in the 5th round. No.
Yeah. That's a tough sell. And I think that's probably based on name value, where kind of the ballpark, maybe 6th round of where he might go. And I probably won't hesitate to draft him if I need that positionality, if I need that stat set, but it's a little unexciting. He's starting to fall into that boring category that a lot of fantasy players do. Not boring would be the number 56 player on this list, Scottie Barnes. Feel free if you have any more MPG takes to toss him in there. But Scottie Barnes, what a season for this guy. All over the board, drafted highly, looked kind of okay for a little bit, but really all over the board. Finished with per game rank of 47, and in 9-cat it was even worse at 66. He played 65 games. Where are you at with Scottie after this up and down season?
I was all in on Scottie coming into this last season. Now I just don't know. I don't feel the same way I felt about him coming into last season. Like I thought Scottie Barnes just can't miss. And I still think there's plenty of time for Scottie Barnes to turn it all around and become the fantasy stud that we all thought he was going to be. But, 4 years in, we've got 15 and 15, averages of 15 points in his first 2 years, and then 19 points in his second 2 years. And, a bunch of missed games the last couple of years, and just never really has popped like we thought he was going to pop. Like Cade Cunningham popped this year in Detroit, and we still haven't seen that from Scottie. And now we have Brandon Ingram coming in. We still have Emmanuel Quickly. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. So
the Brandon Ingram thing's a big, big deal. Like, that could ruin a lot for Scottie Barnes. Like, that's it's a lot of usage. It's a lot of slow dribbling around the basketball floor that Brandon Ingram does. I didn't think that acquisition was good at all. They are going to have some weird ass basketball team next season.
I'm going to be trying to get Barnes in like the 6th round, and that's sort of where this says his value is. Last year, I'm guessing his ADP was top 30. This year, I'm hoping it's top 60, and I can get him late. I have no problem taking Scottie Barnes in like round 5, 6, or 7.
God, I almost forgot what his ADP was, but it was like, I thought, wasn't he going in like the back end of the 1st round, early 2nd round?
I feel like he was going 2nd round.
Yeah, probably a little bit But I mean, I think people had visions of these big numbers. I mean, he came off of a 1.5 block season last season, or probably 2 seasons ago, 1.3 steals that season, and then disappointing the following season. Those numbers came back down. And I think the questions that folks probably had was, actually, I'm reading this backwards. Yeah, no, it was last season that he had the 1.3 steals and 1.5 blocks. People thought, what if that got better? I think, and then it didn't. So that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to see where he went in our 30 deep league, because I think that's a pretty good barometer, just generally speaking. Scottie Barnes went 13th.
Right. Yeah.
Sandwiched
the
in
hype
between
machine was
John
on. I mean,
Morant, James Harden.
He had 6 assists this season before, 8 boards, and all the makings of like a very poor man's Magic Johnson. Big player that's handling the ball, and but the defensive stats down to 1.0 blocks. Maybe Jakob Pertl related, but let's play pin the tail on Scottie Barnes here. Where's he going to be drafted next season? Do you think he's like a 3rd round guy?
I think he's probably going to go 4th round. I don't think there's not going to be a lot of hype and a lot of buzz about him. And I think you and I can both agree that even if Brandon Ingram shows up in Toronto, which he's going to, I don't understand that move at all, bro. It just confuses me.
Well, it's what's weird about it too is Masai Ujiri is like reportedly getting interest from other squads. He's doing the move again.
But so even if
he make that move,
would I?
No, did Masai Ujiri make that move? He's typically known for making good moves.
All I know is even Brandon Ingram can't screw up Scottie Barnes. If you get Scottie Barnes like any time after, really, I think any time in round 4, 5, or 6, you're getting a value pick, because Scottie can't be any worse than he was this season. Like, it's just there's no way he gets worse, and the chances of him blowing up and totally breaking out, I think, are still pretty decent, just because of his skill set and the talent that he has. So if I can get that dude in round 4 or 5, I'm going to do it. I'm just not going all in at round 2. And I think I remember in our draft, in that 30-team draft, Tom Carpenter took Scottie Barnes right in front of me. And I was like, dang it. And I ended up taking, 80-year-old Jimmy Harden with that pick instead of Scottie Barnes. And it worked out really well in my favor. So thank you, Tom, and thank you, Scottie. But I think he's going to be a value pick this year. I don't think you're going to have to take him in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe 3rd round. Well, it depends on how much chatter there is coming in. But I'm going to say he'll go late 3rd round.
And I'm the one we need a clock for, eh? I love it.
There's only 2 of us on this one, bro. There ain't 3.
I know. We could just spread our wings and fly. I think the interesting thing that I'm looking at right here about his numbers is shooting-wise, it was just all bad. He goes from 47.5 last year to 44.6 this year. 27% from 3. He took less threes. So, I mean, somewhere in there, you'd think he'd find something a little bit better that was working for him, but he just didn't. When you're getting 44.6 out of your big man and he's only hitting 1.2 triples per game, that's not great. So the question will be, can they find a combo of things that work for him that's going to work a little bit better? Because to your point about breakout, that potential still exists. A player of his kind, like if he learns how to shoot, if he gets more effective with his moves, he's taking higher quality shots, 44 can turn into 47, which he has shot as recently as the season before, or 49 in his rookie season. I mean, he can get probably 3 to 4% on that field goal percentage, which means more points, better overall value, probably better assists because, he's now more effective with the ball. So there's a lot of upside here for Scottie Barnes. And where he goes in drafts, I'm kind of thinking people will maybe try to sneak him in the 3rd. And at which point in time, that's probably a little too rich So it's another nice name to track heading into next season. Another name that's completely, I think people value him all over the board, whether it's fantasy or reality. It's 57 overall ranked player, Jalen Green. Now, Jalen, his per game rank was 99, and many parts of the season it was probably 149. When the Houston Rockets were at full strength, he played in all 82 games. In a 9-cat setting, he was a number 70 overall player with those 82 games. I don't know what to call this season. Was it an overwhelming success? I mean, I was kind of hyped up on Jalen Green heading into the season in the sense that I thought he was going to be better than people thought he would be. I don't know that I had a Jalen Green on any of my squads, so I don't know if I'm, talking the talk with that talk. But where are you at with Jalen, I guess, this season and next?
I feel like his name is bigger than his fantasy game. He's going to be drafted. He's going to be drafted before the 9th round, right? But that's the value he's returning. And he plays in 82 games. His games played the last 3 years are 76, 82, and 82. So that's awesome. He scores a ton of points. That's awesome. The shooting isn't horrible. It's not great, 42. Free throws are good. Everything else is just sort of He's like Jalen Brunson. Dude, get some steals. You shouldn't be at 0.8 or 0.9 steals. You should be at 1.5. And of course, the blocks aren't going to be there. And he doesn't get many assists for a guard. So I like Jalen Green. I like him in a points league a lot more than I like him in roto or head-to-head.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that's never really been kind of taught to play defense or never really focused on defense. His abilities, like, laterally, vertically with those arms, he should be getting way more steals than he's getting, 0.9. That's just a ridiculous number on a team that's got some good defensive players around him. So he should be able to manufacture, but you could tell that the mentality is not there for that. I'm just curious what Houston's going to do. Like, are you a Alperen Sengun team or are you a Jalen Green team? And I don't think they're going to bet on Jalen Green. And I think Jalen Green has potential to go somewhere and be a legit number one. Not like Cade, because he doesn't have the passing ability per se. I don't think he can control tempo. I think Jalen Green sees a shot and he takes a shot. So he would fit really well on any of the squads that are out there. There's just lacking scorers. They're lacking dynamic players that can get into the paint and do all of the things. If he can find himself to one of those places, like mid-season or something, if that's the way that the tea leaves are, the winds are blowing. Sorry, I'm mixing my metaphors there. Then I think Jalen Green really has an opportunity because he's probably a 30-point scorer. Not 30, 28, 27, but whatever. In the association, he could be a high 20 scorer in the association. And then right there, if he plays a lot of games on top of it, you're talking about an early round guy. Maybe you get that lucky bounce during the season if you take a chance on Jalen Green while everybody's fading him. If none of that happens, go ahead.
I am fascinated by your takes on Houston because I feel like in yesterday's show you were like, is it an Amen Thompson team or is it a Alpi Sengun team? And I think it all comes down to Alpi Sengun. Like I'm the biggest problems hater with Alperen Sengun.
I don't like his general disposition. Actually, there are some disposition issues with certain complaints about fouls and certain ways that he plays the game that I'm not on board with. But mostly, it's the Domantas Sabonis thing. It's like I watched the Kings play terrible basketball for however long and reported on him, et cetera, et cetera. And Sabonis comes in, it's like beautiful basketball. It's like a pleasure to watch. It's a great thing to watch, but they're not going to win with Alperen Sengun. You surround him with all these great defensive players and teams are still willing to pick on him and then let him beat them kind of one-on-one and get all the stats while everybody gets iced out. It's a fascinating discussion. I think Houston could trade Sengun for tons right now, like tons. And then, remake their team around Amen Thompson and some of their other younger players and have a bevy of options to go get a defensive center that you can win at in the NBA. So we'll see, but I'm the hater.
Very, very critical of the number 2 seed in the West this year, and one of the youngest teams.
The first round exiting.
Yeah, they're young. They never
They
have.
lost,
None of
they
them
lost to
played
the
the
Golden
playoffs.
State Warriors with Buddy Hield and Brandon Przemski, known Hall of Famers.
Because they haven't been there before. They had zero experience. I think the Houston's going to stick with Şengün, Jalen, and Amen, and I think they're going to be good for a number of years to come. But
I'm just curious what the impact of those the Dylan Brooks and the Fred VanVleets and the Tari Easons and that kind of and Ime Udoka, like, can they put an imprint on those three dudes that you just mentioned? Those core players. Amen Thompson, no questions, got that. But like Şengün had a lot of toughness that I thought you didn't see in his rookie season, so that was encouraging. Jalen Green, I don't know if that's happening for him, but can they be tough? Because they need to be tough. If you're not going to be able to defend well, at least you can be tough.
Well, I don't think you play for Udoka if you're not tough.
Şengün had that in his game this season, whereas in his like rookie and second seasons, he was very soft, and that's definitely been a change in his approach to the game. That's great. I mean, if you've got that deficiency laterally in today's NBA, where guard play and foul drawing and foul baiting, Şengün played in the 80s. It'd be a completely different story. The 90s, it'd be a completely different story. He'd be like, I mean, imagine him playing in the Shaq era. I mean, there was so many players that they needed to try to line up with that guy that had no skill. He could have maybe, been a player that lined up a little bit better.
Jalen's ADP last year was 90. So maybe he won't be overvalued. Maybe his name isn't bigger than his game. Maybe he's going to go in the 80s or 90s again this year. And if that's the case, I'm fine. I'm fine with him there. There are times when Jalen Green looks like he's ready to take over the NBA. And then there's other times where he just falls off a cliff and you don't hear from him for 2 weeks. So
those are the weeks that Şengün is dominating.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's I also, one last thing on Jalen Green. Give me a player in the 90s or the hundreds that you think can be a 28-point scorer in the association. With that kind of talent and that kind of uncoverability, I'll take that all day long in the 90s to 100s. And if it doesn't work out, great, just go on to the next one. But I think that's good business, taking a Jalen Green at that spot. Next up on our list here, a guy that's still playing, Minnesota Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert. So it's a player that I've faded for like 9 straight years or something. But I would like to say that at Roto World, back in our Roto World days, we were quite high on him early on. And that worked out for us. 79 per game rank in 8-cat, 72 games played, and then number 45 overall in 9-cat. So where are you at with old Rudy? I mean, I think you've been pretty critical of Rudy, but like fantasy-wise, like how you feeling about him?
I mean, he had a good year, right? 12 points, 11 boards, 1.4 blocks, 0.8 steals. Fine. I'm not a Rudy guy. Free throw percentage sucks. People are just going at him. He does not look like the defensive player of the year candidate anymore. I mean, I saw so many guys dunk on him. He's looked good in these playoffs, though. And he looked good, especially the second half of the season. I thought he looked pretty good. I would just like to think we could get Rudy Gobert later than he's going to go. I feel like Rudy Gobert is one of those guys where people are like, oh, I need those boards and blocks. I'm going to get him early. And I think he should be there in the middle rounds or the middle later rounds. And he's just usually not there. So I'm not really a big Rudy guy.
Yeah, it's the fall off for him this year, I guess, was predictable, but it was really, really there. He played just about the same minutes, pretty much the same games played, and then his rebounds down 2 rebounds a game, blocks down from 2.1, 3,
or no, 10.9 to 12.9. My bad. 2.
We're math people.
I know that was my fault, bro.
That's I'll never forgive you. 2.1 down to 1.4.
2 rebounds and 2 points a game, right?
Yeah, 2 points a game.
And the
like,
blocks
it's like
were
he
way
was
down.
just out of the action. Like his fouls were way down, turnovers way down. It was
And
like
he was supposed to be more involved with Cat in New York.
Yeah, and
not less.
I was expecting Rick to be able to tee off on me yesterday because of Julius Randle. We never even got to the topic, so yay me. Julius Randle kind of didn't. I don't think he was he a reason that 2 less rebounds?
He may have been.
A third of the blocks gone.
He might have been. You know what Julius will do.
Oh, well, look, we'll talk about Julius here in a second. Plenty of thoughts there. As far as Rudy Gobert goes, that's a really bad season. And yet he's still, he stayed upright. It's amazing what staying upright in the regular season could do for your rankings. 58 overall. I don't think people drafted Rudy Gobert in whatever, like 3rd, 4th round, maybe 4th or 5th, and felt like bad that they had Rudy Gobert.
But what was he per game again?
Per game, that's another story. Yeah, 79, probably a little bit of buyer's remorse there, but he stayed upright. He got you. He did what you needed him to do. He didn't do it as well as you wanted him to do it, but you got your 12 and 11 every night. You got your 1.4 blocks. You were probably in a roto setting doing okay-ish with blocks because of that. And then this upcoming season, I don't know. I mean, he is how old now? Rudy is 32 years old. I don't think he's getting any quicker. I don't know how that blocks number gets considerably better. He's had one bounce back in his career. His first Minnesota season, he had 1.4 blocks that season in 70 games, playing next to Cat, of course. Maybe it's the Naz Reid effect kicking in, but if he's getting 1.4 blocks, that's going to be very disappointing again next season. So where are you going to draft him? You going to draft him in the 6th round?
I don't draft Rudy. I'm not doing it. I would tell people 7th or 8th round. I'm not feeling 6th round.
Interestingly enough, number 59 on our board here is his teammate Naz Reid. So he beat out
Naz Reid.
Yeah, speaking of this guy, number 59, Naz Reid, 107 in per game. He played in 80 games as well. That's a great season from an availability standpoint for him. But 107 per game, would you consider last season a success or a failure for Naz Reid or something in between?
I would say it was a success. I mean, I don't think he was being drafted much higher than 100. I mean, maybe Andre has his ADP available. Career high in points at 14.2, career high in boards at 6, 0.9 blocks, 0.7 steals. See those up just a little bit. Career high in 3-pointers and 46% from the floor, 78% from the line. ADP was 97. That was what his value was. I mean, nothing earth shattering. He didn't hurt your team. He didn't necessarily help it, but he just did what he was supposed to do. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I almost wonder if we'll be seeing a peak Naz Reid season this upcoming season, but it's going to be really hard to handicap it. It'll be hard to kind of just rubber stamp, this is going to be a peak season for Naz Reid. And a lot will depend on how these playoffs go and what are they doing with Julius Randle and how do they feel? They got new owners in Minnesota. What do they want to do to put their stamp on the team? Do they trade their entire future for a trio of stars like Phoenix did and do something crazy? I mean, it's not like they haven't done that stuff already in the past, but Naz Reid, a very good basketball player. And it feels like there's levels to this thing. Maybe some concerns even with the injury risk from past seasons, but it just kind of feels like he's paid his dues. And this is a guy that will eventually have to be closer to 30 minutes a game, eventually get more shot attempts. He only had 11 and a half shot attempts. Yeah, there's a few extra players that are taking shots on this team, but Cat left and that number didn't go way up. I'm kind of thinking that Naz was a disappointment for folks that drafted him maybe aggressively in the 80s. in a super competitive situation where everybody's on Naz Reid and everybody kind of wants to get that. And then they didn't quite get the per game bang for the buck. But overall,
had Julius Randle not showed up, I think Naz Reid would have had a bang season. But
he legitimately, Julius Randle, the acquisition, not the person, that screwed that team up for the first 40 games of the season.
And here they are in the Western Conference Finals.
And here they are, and we'll get to them in a quick second here. Here they are in the Western Conference Finals, just doing their thing. Let's see what we got.
But I love Naz Reid. And, you mentioned Rudy Gobert's 32. How old is Naz? Do you have? Oh, I've got it pulled up here.
Naz is 25.
Naz is only 25, so that's good. So I think Naz is still. I think he's still a fantasy sleeper. He's coming off a career year, but he also was getting 3 more minutes a game this last season than he got the year before. And with those 3 minutes, I think we were all hoping he did a little bit more than he did. So as far as you calling it a minor disappointment, I think that's your basic feeling on it. I think that's agreeable. I can agree.
It's going to be hard. Like, what are they going to do with Gobert? There's this so much momentum in the playoffs right now for you need 2 bigs, and it's probably true. If you're a good team, you probably need 2 bigs. To take on Jokic or whoever other teams that have 2 bigs. You need that. But man, 33 minutes for Rudy Gobert, and you've got a guy in Naz Reid who can slide his feet. He does all the offensive stuff. I mean, it just opens the floor up. Can be very good on defense himself.
It just feels dunked on once a game.
They do like to dunk on Rudy Gobert. It feels like they need to swap spots rotationally, but then you play a Rudy Gobert in your second unit. That's just a weird thing to do in general. Usually your big plotting center you kind of start out with and see how the game develops from there. I would, in a perfect world, say Rudy Gobert like 26 minutes and give the other 7 to Naz and or others. But they don't do it like that.
All you in favor say aye.
Next up on our list is Franz Wagner, finished number 60 per game, 37, and played in 60 games. That's kind of perplexing. The fact that he was able to get to 60 in 61 games while only having the per game rank at 37. I mean, I guess it all averages out, numbers are numbers, but like it felt like he had a couple months of first round value, and that's driving this rank in just 61 games. But also a part of the constant speculation of various shows out there that want to move players around the NBA and do that whole content type. Folks want to trade Franz Wagner out of Orlando, and maybe they're onto something, maybe they're not. Orlando's this team that it feels like they might have to make a move here to keep their trajectory on time and on target. So I can't see him trading Franz Wagner. Crazier things that happen in this league. It's probably the case that he'll be with Orlando next season. But how do you feel about his season this year? And then what do you look at next year?
24.2 points. That's a big number. That's easily a career high by like 5 points. 1.3 steals, easily a career high. 0.4 blocks, ties a career high. 5.7 rebounds, sets a career high. 4.7 assists, sets a career high by a full assist. 1.7 3-pointers, sets a career high. 46% shooting, nothing wrong with it. Not 48 like he used to be, but 46 is good. He's a great free throw shooter at 87. He doesn't turn the ball over a ton. I'm still waiting for the conspiracy theory to be exposed as to how Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner both suffered strained obliques. Not a basketball injury. They're both on the same team. Like, doesn't make any sense. And it totally buzzkilled the whole thing. The Magic had going, even though they played pretty well when those guys are both out. But, Franz had a big year, dude. And had he not missed all those games, it was going to be bigger. It was going to be bigger. So I like him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like look at some of these splits here, but from like December to February, he was up at like 26 to 28 points per game. Who would have thought that about Franz Wagner a couple seasons ago, where he was really kind of almost looking like a new Tobias Harris type player who scores a little bit, does a little bit of everything. I mean, he was just outstanding. One of the things about Wagner that really stands out right now is his physical strength. And then the pairing with him and Banchero is a little bit almost reductive in that sense, is you got two players that can just bowl people over and get to the hoop. They need the opposite of that in the worst way to balance that squad out. And I guess that maybe the pivot here is Orlando's got to do something like that, where they're going to get some sort of jitterbug kind of scorer who can get into the paint and just open up this floor for them. And if they are smart and then they go and they do that, what does that do to Wagner? Is his fantasy value is it better in this situation where they're a little bit imbalanced with the two bruisers, and they go bruiser A and bruiser B, and they kind of do their thing next to each other? And he's still able to be a primary scorer. Like, is there any concern that if you were drafting today that you might overdraft a Wagner because there's going to be a move down the road that messes things up for him?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, it's Orlando, so who knows? They got a huge problem at point guard. They got to get that figured out. They've got a huge problem at shooting guard. I mean, KCP was not good for them this year. And they've kind of got a mess at center. Like, I don't think they know what they're doing there. So the fact that Orlando was as good as they were this past season is kind of mind-boggling to me. But I think we've seen what Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are, and I don't really think anything is going to mess that up. Like, no, I'm not worried about possible additions.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go high. It's like almost a guarantee that Franz Wagner, I would think he's going to be like a 4th round at minimum kind of a guy, because everybody will extrapolate what happened this last season and just sort of assign him. Well, he's been a 5th round guy forever. I think he might have even crept up into the 4th round this past season. So I think people are going to be hot on him. And I don't know, when I look at some of his stats, like the 3-point shooting is just not there. It's very, I had it up in front of me. It's 27%. It was 29.5. He did add some attempts per game. He went from 4.6 to 5.9, 28.1% to 29.5%. So a little bit of improvement there, but just 2 seasons ago, he was at 36 and then 35 the year before that. So like, are we just assuming that he can't shoot anymore? That he's like done being a 3-point shooter? That was the big question entering this season. And I feel like that didn't get answered. And while I love the fact that he seems uncoverable on drives to the hoop, I just don't like the shooting issue. So if he gets drafted in the 4th round, are you on it?
I don't think I'm taking him in the 4th. I think there's going to be like all the guys we talked about yesterday, Amen Thompson, Josh Giddey, Jalen Brunson, Dyson Daniels. There's going to be a lot of guys in the 4th that I think we're looking at. But maybe a lot of those guys I just mentioned won't be there. And Franz Wagner will be one of the best players available in round 4. I'm not saying I won't take him in round 4. I'd rather have him in round 5.
Yeah. It's going to be, I want to obviously see how it all plays out, just as everybody else does. But it was a really intriguing list of players with very big names and arrows pointing in whatever direction, and a lot of variance when you look at Scottie Barnes, Naz Reid, Franz Wagner. These guys just have a lot of potential, and also situations that are kind of boxing them in a little bit. Okay, we're going to talk about the Wolves and Thunder tonight. Quickly, for those of you who don't listen to the end of a podcast, I am going to be taking a medical leave, and I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end of the show. So if you guys don't see me, they didn't just off me and get rid of me. We'll talk about that in a quick second. Wolves at OKC. I think you said yesterday that you didn't think that the Wolves had a chance at all. Is that true? And
I don't
why?
know if I said that, but I think
they're a terrible basketball squad and they should just give up.
I feel like the Thunder got their biggest challenge they're going to get from Nikola Jokic in Denver. Maybe the Knicks or Pacers or Wolves will prove me wrong, but I think this team is going to get out and run. I haven't looked at the series odds today, but
like minus 300 for.
I think the game. The early spread on the game is 7.5. Oklahoma City minus 7.5 is what I've got. And I'm going to take that all day at Oklahoma City after what we saw on Sunday against Denver. They're up 40 the whole second half. That's what this Thunder team is capable of doing if they're, clicking on all cylinders. So
that's a super interesting line, 7.5, because I think Minnesota starts this playoffs out as kind of a bottom tier playoff team. People had LA. I think I had LA. I didn't feel confident about it, but like the Thunder were getting like -9, -10, against Memphis. Not that Memphis was scary.
There were a lot of 10s and a lot of 10.5s and a lot. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
So, I mean, to open this thing up, it's like the series odds haven't really gotten off of the Thunder. It's a little bit of like, when it was elimination games, for example, against Denver, that the Thunder were at like plus 115 to win it all. And now they've got a big minus 145, I think is the best you could get the Thunder right now to win it all. So those numbers have held, but this particular game one, the Thunder are affordable at minus 7.5. And I'm a little ambivalent. Like I think it's about Julius Randle. Like, and to kind of go there with Julius Randle, I'm both proud of him and happy for him. I think anybody that I've talked with has always said that he's a pretty good dude. And I've personally just made him the problem for all things in Minnesota. And I've, as far as like his time in New York, the stuff there I thought was abominable. And I actually don't feel bad at all with that analysis. I don't feel like I got it wrong. I don't feel like it wasn't that. I mean, this guy chucked up the worst shots I've ever seen in New York. And I think the vibe was off because of his style of play. This year in OKC, or probably for Minnesota, he has really like taken his role in this last second half of the season and in these playoffs. I feel like he's the perfect complement right now. Like he's playing that way. He's not chucking up shots that are bad. He's not tilting the offense his direction. He's playing hard defense. He seems genuinely happy letting Ant be Ant. And it's been very nice for them. My concern for the Wolves is that it feels like a lot of their guys can cover him well. Like Jalen Williams, I think, could cover him fairly well. Dort, Caruso. Like I feel like they'll just get their low center of gravity in there and just kind of keep him on the perimeter and not get beat. But I guess conversely, if Julius Randle can throw his weight around and kind of bully through those guys and create disadvantages for those kinds of matchups, that's when I think Minnesota would have a shot. Game ones are great spots for underdogs to take their shot to try to win this game. But it sounds like you're on Thunder minus 7.5, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, this Minnesota team, rolled through a Lakers team with, Doey, Doncic, and nobody to play interior defense and nobody to do anything. And then they went through a Golden State team that lost Steph Curry. And yes, Randall has looked awesome. But like you said, I mean, dude, the Thunder had Alex Caruso guarding Nikola Jokic on Sunday. Like, that's where we're at. Like Caruso can guard anybody. Jalen can guard literally anybody.
And that was a topic, by the way, because they let Caruso get away with so much because of the size differential. And it was a strategic play by Dagnall to do that. And I guess you could do it again in this series.
My feeling is I think I don't know why the line is so low. I know that people like real true basketball experts, X's and O experts like JB Bickerstaff and whatnot are like, and this is a really good matchup for Minnesota. They match up really well with OKC. Well,
why though?
My thinking is nobody matches up well with OKC. And why is this line only 7? I give me the Thunder all day, dude. I think they're going to come out at home, and that crowd is going to be in a frenzy, and they're just going to go off.
I worry about Ant against this particular defensive configuration. I mean, he's been settling for threes all season. Settling is maybe not the right word, but like, if you keep him out of the paint, I think it starts to be the first part of making them one-dimensional. And then you look at Chet, you look at Hartenstein, and Hartenstein will play Gobert to a draw, and that'll be fine. It's that Naz Reid versus Chet matchup that I've got kind of circled, because it feels like Chet will just kind of hold his own in that matchup and neutralize the two bigs for Minnesota. And then it starts to get real thin real quick. It's like if Ant is got Jalen Williams and all the other guys that I'm mentioning, basically for Randall that are there to shadow him, I mean, you're really putting a lot of pressure on Dante DiVincenzo, Mike Conley, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker to have really big games. And those guys on their side can defend as well. I think Shea's going to have his work cut out for him in this series. It's going to be a lot like last series, where it's like maybe he's muted and it's the others that are kind of propelling them along constantly. Though Shea did get going toward the end of the series there against Denver. But yeah, I don't have a pick for this game. Maybe like the under or something, but like I'll sit and I'll stare at it for a little bit. We're recording here on Monday. I'll stare at it, but I don't like the idea that this would be the game that if Minnesota is going to get a game on the road in OKC, I feel like it's this one. A little bit of element of surprise, a little bit of rest compared to the 7-game slugfest that the Thunder just went through. So it's a little iffy. 7.5. I wish that number was 9 or 10 though, if I was going to take that angle. And it is what it is. What do you think about since I don't have you for the Wednesday game? What do you got for Pacers Knicks?
Man, I don't know. I picked the Knicks in the preseason to win the East and then get beat by the Thunder in the finals. So, I would like to be right there. So I want to, I'm like on the Knicks, but I've got all this history in Indiana and all this history with the Pacers and all my friends. And they're so fun right now. And Halliburton being disrespected and all that. Like, I really like, as of going into this series, and then you add in the history of the Knicks Pacers, it's just such a fun, crazy series. So, dude, I don't know. As of right now, I'm going to just say that I'll be happy with either team winning. Now, it only takes one act by someone on either team to piss me off and give me a sour taste or whatever, a bad taste, for me to turn and be like, now I just want the Knicks to kill them, or I want the Pacers to destroy this team. But right now, man, I'm feeling like I can't lose either way.
Who do you like against the theoretic Thunder matchup? Pacers or Knicks? No. Who do you like? Who's the better opponent? Who's gonna? I think people are concerned to be Thunder Pacers or something, and that be a weak final or something. But
I don't think it matters, dude. I think they're gonna work either team.
I'm so curious about these Pacers. Like, it just we're talking about the Pacers here in late May, early June. It's great. I think just great to see a team continue to improve and these players play on the big stage and just be good. Like Aaron Nesmith, underrated. Nembhard, underrated. Mathurin, probably underrated. Miles Turner having a great season. Halliburton stepping into Halliburton's, his recognition at this point. It's very, very cool. And as far as game one goes, New York, I think I'll go with them because of the revenge factor. They got unfinished business, and that probably will be the most important thing, maybe the most important game that these guys have played in their careers. is trying to step into game one and get a big win at home against this Pacers squad.
You said that game one is the best chance for a team to get an upset, and that's why you kind of like Minnesota. I feel that way when I look at this. Like, give me the Pacers in 4.5 or 5 points.
If not for the prior matchup,
they've never been scared to play in New York, dude. The Pacers know that they always do crazy stuff in New York. So I will probably, in fact, I know I'll be.
I hate this. I hate this bet. I hate this bet. I really hate this because like everything about me would take Pacers +4, whatever the number is. It's that revenge factor with New York. That's the only thing making me hang in on the New York side. So it's 2 tough bets to open up the series. I like your Thunder bet. I really do. I don't know if I will go there because I'm a wuss.
I think it's easy. I think it's easy like Sunday morning.
Boom. Easy like Sunday morning. All right, so guys, I'm out of here. I'm going on medical leave for roughly 2 to 3 months. Appearances on shows. I'll be around for the playoffs, and I'll be tweeting a little bit here and there. The whole idea for me is to stay off of computers and phones so I can let my TOS, which theoretically is what Wemby's dealing with. It's the nerves getting compressed underneath the collarbones. You guys hear me talking about it all the time. The whole plan has always been to get some rest. We haven't been able to do it until this group here has been assembled at Sports Ethos, who has graciously allowed, through their hard work and their dedication and all of their output and everything that this group here has done is basically given me that opportunity for the first time since this ailment started 7 years ago. So I'm incredibly grateful and thankful for everybody involved doing that, because theoretically, with all of the PT that I'm doing and all the working out and all of the things that have been creating improvements, maybe this will be the thing that gets me to turn the corner. Oh, and watch out, people. If I get to turn the corner, you're going to get 15,000 word daily doses. You're going to get, way too much of me on Twitter. I'll be talking even longer on podcasts. Doc will love every single minute of it. I swear.
I feel like I was way too mean to you today. You're like, this should be your.
I brought it up like 4 times.
It should be your going away party, and I should be. This should be a sentimental moment, and I've just been mean.
He's been telling me I talk too much. Everybody, like, could you guys believe that I, Aaron Bruski, talk too much? Never. But these guys, they're going to hold down the fort. We're going to have so much fantasy content for you guys this summer. We have made improvements all over the place. You're going to see all sorts of stuff get rolled out this upcoming season. So please do. I think the thing I want to have everybody that's listening, I want to get more interaction out of you guys this upcoming season. I want to get more questions. I want to get more chatter, probably get you guys involved with shows a little bit more. Now that we have our foundation sort of built here, I think we're going to be able to branch out and do a lot more stuff like that this upcoming season. I want to hear your feedback on our tools. I mean, we're literally building these things right now. So if you got a wish list, send it on over to support@sportsethos.com. Tweet us. You guys know the drill. And that'll do it. I'll see you guys around. I'll definitely be around if you guys need anything, so you guys know where to find me. And then soon enough, we will be drafting, and that will be great. So for Doc, for Andre Lemouche, for Rick, who's going to carry you guys through the season, or the off season, I should say. Thank you guys, and we will see you soon. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by Bet Online. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, be well.